The idea is to use mycelium, which is this vegetative part of fungi, mushroom. So like the branching structure of the fungi, to grow, to make habitats on Moon or Mars. At first the project was for Mars, then with NASA Artemis plans, the focus shifted on the Moon. But then within that project, I started continuing as my PhD research, so I had to find my own path, let's say, which is still part of this microarchitecture. It's NASA NIAC funded project, so it's NASA Institute of Advanced Concepts. So for my PhD research, I had to find my own path, so it's original research, so I can work on it as my PhD research, but it's part of the NASA NIAC. So the NASA approach is to use mycelium to create myco shell, let's say. So the idea is that you take this deployable, inflatable structure that is made on Earth, and it's preceded with algae and or cyanobacteria and mycelium to a certain level, and then we take it to Moon or Mars. Mars makes a little bit more sense in a way that the idea is that you deploy it on the surface, and then you add water, sunlight, and carbon dioxide, which is present in Martian atmosphere. That's why it makes more sense for Mars, that specific approach, but it could also work on the Moon. So you add water, carbon dioxide, and sunlight, and then cyanobacteria and algae start feeding on that and start growing, and then they produce oxygen and they produce nutritional mass. And then after they are fully grown, the mycelium starts feeding on it because mycelium need oxygen and it needs nutrition. And that starts feeding on it, and it consolidates the organic matter and creates this consolidated mycoshell. Because mycelium feeds on any kind of organic substrates, it secretes enzymes and like bind the structure together. On Earth, it's used for many architectural installations, also as insulation for architecture or for packaging. So it's very lightweight, fire resistance, acoustic material. But the beauty of it in space exploration is that it self-replicates and it's self-healing. So you can take just a little bit with you and then repopulate it directly at the destination. So that's NASA's approach, that like you have this preceded bag and everything happens in a closed environment of that deployable habitat.
So basically what the concept that you started off with is that you will have this inflatable habitat, it will be deployed on the Martian surface, and within that habitat you will start the process of using this as to build the...
So it's like it's all preceded, and the inflatable is kind of made out of separate compartments, and each compartment is preceded with algae and cyanobacteria, and then after you add water and carbon dioxide and sunlight, that grows, but that grows within this inflated compartments, and then mycelium feeds on it, and you have this mycoshell habitat, and that's for Mars or for the Moon. Mycelium could be like when you have a specific species of mycelium or mycelium that is bioengineered to have high melanin content, then it can provide radiation protection capabilities. So it would be really amazing if you can just deploy the habitat and it already provides radiation protection for astronauts. Unfortunately, we're not able to say that the radiation protection that fungi can give is enough to protect astronauts. So in the end, it might have to be necessary to cover this deployed habitat with the layer of regolith anyways. Also, the internal pressure between inside and the outside could be too big, so you still have to like use regolith to cover it so it doesn't burst. So for my research, for my PhD project, I decided to look into combination of mycelium with regolith in the first place, since it might have to be necessary to use it anyways. And I started with basically very basic research into how to grow mycelium on inorganic aggregate, because normally it's used on organic substrates, so like coffee grains or beetroot, sawdust, hemp, anything that's organic that mycelium can feed on. So I'm looking into how can we minimize this organic part, because we don't have beetroot on Mars. We will have greenhouse, and potentially we could use greenhouse waste and like non-edible parts of plants, or even like human waste, so anything that's organic. But I'm looking into how to minimize that so mycelium can still grows, but it acts as this binder for regolith, and it like binds the regolith so you can replicate it on site. Regolith is there,